Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Welcome to our 100-day countdown to the November election. We are counting down the days now, though we are in early voting in most states, and certainly here in Missouri. In fact, we're going to go vote today.
Yeah, man.
And it's really important to prepare before you go because the ballot is really long. And while some of them are more obvious, the judges are often a challenge. So, I'm happy to send you what we decided on. We really made our decisions dependent on who appointed those judges. That often is quite telling, as we've come to learn. But today is yesterday in Israel was Simchat Torah, and I saw that at the Nova site, people danced. They danced. People of all persuasions, all denominations, they danced together. And on that sacred, on that holy ground, they danced. Sameach, I guess, But it was defiance. It was resistance. And it was really in honor of those people who died, those tragic and evil deaths. How to honor their lives and make sure their memories can be a blessing in some way, and make sure they didn't die in vain, that we remember them. So, and today it's Simchat Torah here, right? Yesterday was Shmini Atzeret, and today is the day that Reformed Jews celebrate Simchat Torah here in America, that next day. And it's, again, for everybody, I think it's a mixed day. It's mixed. How do you, as Adina said so beautifully, live in that crawl space of grief and gratitude? Grief and gratitude. And that's what we struggle with. And Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, he gets it. I mean, he lived through a lot of pain and a lot of sorrow, a lot of personal disappointments. And yet he was able to write these beautiful books about how to make yourself a better person. And I think that was his response, is when we don't have control over the world around us, which we often don't, what we try to do is be a mensch. In a place where there is no mensch, be a mensch.
He was smart.
So
he he used his smarts to develop his inner resources, peace of the near. And he wouldn't be distracted from his eagerness, his zeal, and what he was attached to in his learning, his sources, his resources.
He wouldn't be distracted. Too. I mean, he was smart, and he had his own light and his own intelligence, but he also really reached into source material, right? He
kept the commitment of what he loved. What his engine was, the engine of his growth.
The engine. Yeah.
I mean, that's part of his sequence, I think, is to be loyal to the engine of your growth. And in that sense, it's not entirely personal. It's meta-personal. It's beyond yourself.
And
it serves you, it serves everyone, because it's the truth as you perceive it, the greater truth as you perceive it.
In this chapter on saintliness, another one of the principles that he gives you a lot of principles, gives you a lot to follow. I mean, how to become this person that you want to be. And one of the things he says, the next thing he says in saintliness is, if you're going to make a sacrifice, give it your best. Give it your best. skimp, right? If you're going to give somebody something, give them your best. If you're going to bring something to the sanctuary, to the temple is the metaphor, let it be your best. Let it be your most valuable. Don't be chintzy, right? Only the best should be brought to the sanctuary. Only the best of you should be offered as a sacrifice, right?
Like that. Yeah, it's important.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
You're going to give somebody something. Give them your best.
Bring the goods.
Bring the goods, right? Let it be your best. Let it be your best. So it is a day of darkness and light, the day of the end.
In my book, I wrote a piece about Simchat Torah that year, last year.
Oh, yes.
I'm just going to read a fragment.
And that's where this
it.
book began. This book began with 100 days after October 7th, which, of course, last year was Shabbat, was Simchat Torah.
I'm just going to read a fragment of that piece called Rejoicing with the Torah.
Okay.
As we sat down with the Torah and industrial tables between us, 2 rows, one on each side of the table, adults and children, a quiet fell over everyone. We all sat there staring at the Torah, drawn towards it, the humidity in the air, raising an earth smell, an animal scent from the sheepskin scroll laid out between us. The black fire on white fire, the smelling of earth, rock, animal. The Swami once told me a story about 3 butterflies. The first butterfly goes out to investigate the fire. What was it like? The butterfly was asked. It was hot. The second goes out. What was it like? It was hot. The third butterfly didn't come back. That butterfly knows fire, said the Swami. To know something is to become it. Someone made a Torah joke as we gazed into the scroll. I want to eat it, quoting the psalm, taste and see that God is good.
God is good. And here's the end. And you made me remember.
He probably told you that story, right?
He did. He told me that story. But let me remind you of the very first story that the Swami told me. I was taking the Swami Chitanananda from the Vedanta Society here. He's really a wonderful, holy man. Came from Bangladesh, but his ashram is in a place called Billermath outside of Calcutta in India. And the first time, so I used to drive him to these meetings. I'd pick him up, and we'd spend this holy time together. I'd take him to the bank and do his errands. But he would always pay me with a story. And the very first story he told me was this. He goes, Susan, do you know about Catalina Island? I said, well, I know it's an island off the coast of California. He goes, do you know about the fish in Catalina Island? I said, no, I don't. I've never seen the fish there. He goes, well, let me tell you, there are big fish and there are little fish. And do you know what and the big fish would eat the little fish. I said, okay. He goes, and you know what those little fish learn to do? What, Swami? The little fish learn to fly. So, yes, we live within these limitations. Yes, we live within the rules, right, of humanity, of our shortcomings, of our. But we also have to know, maybe that's where the joy comes from, that we're only limited by our imagination. We're only limited by our creativity. We're only limited by our vision. I wish I could share that message more with people, especially the next generations.
Just shared it with myriads, thousands of myriads. Here's a song for Shabbat.
Okay. Yeah.
Shalom Aleichem.
Angels.
Malachi Ashari.
Don't ever doubt that there are angels.
Malachi Elyon. Malachi Harachamim. Mi Melech. Malachi HaMalachim. Akadosh Baruch Hu. Third
love
pole,
that.
the third set of angels, Malachi Harachamim, the angels of mercy.
Angels of mercy, they come in many forms.
The balancing pole.
Yeah. Angels of mercy.
Threes, the synthesizing pole.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for being here.
We are going to vote today, I hope. We're going to hope the lines aren't too long. We wish everyone a meaningful Simchat Torah and a Shabbat Shalom.